Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast, Teacher Business 103, with your favorite English instructor, Professor Hampton. Find out more about me and my work at www.arhampton.com. This is episode number 3. In the last episode, I talked about starting a freelance business and then moving to creating online classes. Why did I do that? Because I was teaching at the time in the classroom. I had been relegated to composition classes. I had like 3 or 4 composition classes, and I had to keep teaching the same things over and over again. Grammar, because students didn't know how to form complete sentences a lot of the times. And then particular essays like narration, description, process. I had to keep teaching that over and over. So instead of doing that, I created lecture videos that I posted to YouTube. And I started doing that in 2011. The really cool thing about it is that they've been up for so many years. And of course, they're timeless because they go over standard English grammar, the rules that have not changed. I had a teacher one time in a meeting hear my name, and she said that she had been using my videos in her classes for a lot of years. So I thank you so much for sharing. For those of you who have watched the videos and shared them in your classrooms or shared them with other students, I really thank you. I'm more famous than I thought, but I need the money. Let's get the money, honey, to go with all of this fame. And I thank you so much, everyone around the world who have used my videos to learn English or to pass a test, to pass an exam, a speaking exam, oral exam. I thank you all so much. So that is how I started my YouTube channel with these tutorial videos. And I think I talked about that in episode 1. In the last episode, episode 2, I talked about using the Udemy platform and the problems and the issues with that. So I want to go back to talking about Udemy and some other platforms that I tried out when I was trying to figure out where I was going to host my online classes. At the time, Udemy was the largest and the first that I came across. And I chose Udemy because there weren't really a lot of options at that particular time. This was some years ago. The thing that disenchanted me with Udemy is, like I mentioned in the last episode, people were stealing my material and pirating my classes. There's a mechanism in Udemy where people could figure out how to download your videos. I already had PDF handouts, but they were downloading those and just downloading my entire class, basically, and putting it up on foreign websites. And at the time, there was no real security or ways that Udemy had to combat that. So the first issue I had with Udemy was security. Secondly, they take a lot of your money, 50-50. The commission percentage was 70-30 in favor of the instructor. So the instructors got 70%, Udemy took 30% because they were marketing and hosting your class. But then they upped it to 50-50. The problem with that is Udemy also slashes prices of your course. They have these sales where you can get a class for $9.99 or less. What is half of $9.99? Just go ahead and take a moment and do that math. What is half of $9.99? That is the money I was getting for my time, my effort, my knowledge, my experience, my expertise that I put into building this class. I'm getting half of $9.99. However, I still have classes posted to Udemy. The first class I posted was a proofreading class. So I have 5 classes currently still on Udemy: Proofreading Power Basics, Grammar Essentials 101, Spelling Rules Refresher, Improve Your Writing Style, and Intro to College Writing. Over time, I have removed a lot of content from the classes because of the issues that I just cited. slashing prices of my classes and not protecting my classes were the motivating factors in me looking for other platforms. The classes that are on Udemy now are basically introductory level classes. In order to get the full content in my full classes, you'll need to go to arahampton.com because now I use Thinkific, and a lot of people are beginning to find Thinkific. Another option, if you're thinking about testing the waters for online classes, let me say that Udemy is good to see if your idea is relevant and if people will actually take your class. So that is a premier bonus with Udemy, especially if you are a first timer. One, they have a review process. So someone is reviewing your class to make sure that it meets their specifications before they make it live on the platform. And then you get a chance to see if people are actually taking your class. Students are allowed to give reviews so you can get feedback on your course material. That's very helpful for first timers. So I still encourage you, if you are testing the waters, if you're developing maybe a mini online class and you just want to see how people respond to it, then I say put it on Udemy because you will receive some great feedback. So what happened as my classes remained on Udemy, I gained a following. So as I gained a following, I also let them know about my other classes and my books. And a lot of instructors at the time, Udemy instructors at the time, when they started slashing course prices and slashing the commissions, some of their advice was use Udemy to post a mini class and then forward people to your full class. So the Udemy course is basically a lead magnet or a low-cost marketing tool to get people interested and engaged with your content. And I'm sure a lot of people still use it as a marketing tool still to this day. Teachable, too expensive, but you might have that kind of money and you might have the kind of following that allows you to pay the fees with Teachable. Another one you might not know about is Coursecraft.net. That's another one that I found. They are a lot smaller, but they really have grown in the features that they offer and in the type of hosting they're able to offer. So Coursecraft.net is another option if you are interested in building online courses and testing the waters. Again, out of all of them that I've mentioned, Udemy is the only one that is a marketplace, meaning even if you do not market your own classes, somebody might find you on Udemy anyway, which is why they take half of your commission because they say, listen, we're doing all of this marketing for you, so we're taking half. So those are the pros and cons. The cons of using your own platform like Thinkific and not a marketplace like Udemy is that you have to hustle up your own business. You have to build your own following. You have to advertise, possibly even pay for advertising. You have to hit up social media and do your own marketing. But the plus is that you don't have somebody taking half of your profits. So why not Udemy? Those are my reasons for not really focusing on Udemy anymore. But those classes are still up because people still find them, people still enroll in them, people still find value in them. And so I'm not going to remove the classes. And again, if you are a first timer or if you have an idea that you want to test, then go ahead and post to Udemy to get some feedback before launching a full course. So again, on my website, www.easyedits.net, which I introduced to you in episode number 2, I posted links to my classes, my books, my resources for teachers. And at that time, I was taking proofreading and editing clients because remember, you need to focus. What skills, what information are you offering? What groups of people will more than likely want what you are offering? So after posting my proofreading class to Udemy and getting some really good response, I got the inspired idea to write a proofreading book that would give students further practice in proofreading beyond the course materials. The book is called Proofreading Power, Skills, and Drills because I couldn't really think of a better title. Here's a summary of the book. Can you catch mistakes in your own writing? Can you identify and correct common writing errors? Would you like to become an effective proofreader for personal growth or profit? Before you write a book, launch a business, or start a side hustle, you must learn to produce error-free writing. Proofreading Power, Skills, and Drills provides essential rules, guidelines, and tips to quickly boost your editing prowess. Train your eyes, your eagle eyes, to catch mistakes in the smallest of details with practical exercises on grammar mechanics, usage, punctuation, and spelling. Try your hand at correcting everyday writing samples, such as essay responses, job descriptions, business letters, and blog articles. So that is a summary of the book. It's available through my website, arhampton.com/books. So I published this and I submitted it for global distribution. So I published it through lulu.com, but you can also buy it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and on a lot of different places. I usually do not read book reviews, but I just so happened to read some of the book reviews on other platforms like Amazon, just to see what people were saying. And somebody had the nerve to write, I didn't learn how to proofread, like from this book. Or someone commented, this was easy. Everything in it was easy. Clearly, it's for beginners. So clearly the person didn't understand that proofreading involves reading, catching errors, correcting errors. That's what proofreading is. But if you have not taken the course, or if you have no background with proofreading and you just pick up the book, then you might get a little confused. However, in this book, there's a lot of information, tips on proofreading. Basically, that person had no basis for saying the book didn't follow through as promised because they didn't learn how to proofread. So a lot of people comment and write reviews who have a skewed understanding of what the book is about. Secondly, there is some racial bias. Some people posted reviews, I could tell there was racial bias and intellectual bias, meaning there are other English instructors who are a little pissed that they didn't think of writing this book before I did. Some people who just don't like the fact that a Black person wrote the book. Perhaps they bought the book and then figured out I was Black afterwards. A lot of things fuel reviews, especially critical reviews. So that's why I try not to read reviews, because they upset me. And then I want to find a person and say, do you know what I had to go through to write this book? A blank page. This 130-page book that you're criticizing started as a blank Microsoft Word document that I had to fill up. Can you do that? If not, shut up. Don't even write a review. So that's the first proofreading book that I wrote. And an interesting thing business-wise is I received an email one time from someone who would be a competitor. They were also offering online writing classes, business writing classes to corporations. They emailed me saying, our client wants your book. How can they get it? Because it was at the beginning of COVID and they could not receive print copies. Well, no electronic copies are available of my proofreading books. Why? Because people will steal them and try to pirate them and stick their name on it. So that's why you have to buy a print version of my proofreading books. There are no electronic versions available for that very reason. But just the fact that people out there are finding my work to the point where their clients wanted my proofreading book. And listen, it's a gorgeous book. I put a lot of time and effort into it. When I tell you, I revised it more than 20 times. I did. Every time I got a proof copy of the book, I would find something else that I needed to fix because it is not easy proofreading and editing your own writing. But I do it to keep my costs down. But the kicker is that I had to buy so many proof copies of my book. So I bought a lot of copies of my own book in order to make sure that it looks good and that there are no errors in it. So then after that book, Proofreading Power, I got another inspired idea saying, you know what, Ashan, you have these proofreading classes. You have the Proofreading Power book, Skills and Drills. Let's just max it out. Let's just do a straight workbook, Proofreading and Grammar Drills workbook, where you put passages for people to proofread and grammar exercises. Because again, grammar is the basis for all good writing, proofreading, and editing. If you are not able to write well, you are not going to be able to communicate well. If you do not understand grammar, you do not understand what needs to be fixed and what errors are in a piece of writing. So grammar is the heart of it all. That's why I'm always impressing that along with proofreading. So I published this workbook in August of 2020, Proofreading and Grammar Drills workbook, where there are no explanations, no tips, no nothing, just straight exercises. So I put in the description and on the book itself, these are just exercises and answers. If you need to understand proofreading and how to do it, then get the Proofreading Power book or take my proofreading classes online. So again, for people who want extra practice, Proofreading and Grammar Drills workbook is for you. So then I started getting people asking for ideas about how to start proofreading, how to go about building a business. Like, do you have any marketing classes or social marketing classes? No, I did not. So I got another inspired idea that said, Ashan, why don't you write a how-to of how to set up a freelance proofreading business? Because you've done it. So just write down what you did, all of the steps that you took, and put it in a book. I'm like, dear God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, who's given me all of these wonderful ideas. It takes so much for me to write anything. And you keep giving me these books. But okay, let's start your proofreading side hustle. Maximize your writing skills. It's only 90 pages. But when I was writing it, it kept coming to me, but this is going to grab so much attention. This small book is going to get so much attention for you and for your work. So just go ahead and write it and finish it. Although it was 90 pages, it still took me a while to think about it, get it all down on paper, get it formatted, get it printed, proofread, edited, revise it. You know, I always winding up revising my books so many times, I can't even count. I'm going to say at least 5 times. So that means I have bought proof copies of all of my books I'll say at least 3 to 5 times, because I have revised it to make sure there were no errors. And when I saw errors, I immediately revised it, which means you have to buy your book, revise it, and then buy it again for them to submit it for global distribution. It's a whole thing. Writing a book is a whole thing. So anytime you buy a book from me, just know a lot has gone into it. So sure enough, I posted Start Your Proofreading Side Hustle, Maximize Your Writing Skills to Amazon.com. This is only available on Amazon. And you can also get the Kindle version of this book. So much great information. It's really succinct. I think this is the most concise I have ever written anything. It gets straight to the point. And of course, I messed around and looked at some reviews. And some woman wrote, why is she asking you to ask so many questions of yourself? Because there are surveys there in the book where you have to write down answers about your proofreading background, what you know about business, what you have. There are just questions because it's a survey. And some woman took time out of her life to say, I don't think she should have asked questions in the book. Wow. Yeah, literally. But so many other comments are like, listen, it's a great read. It's a short read. If you are beginning your proofreading career, this is exactly what you need. I've been proofreading for some years, but this book gave me some ideas I had not thought about. This, for real, is such a great little book about how to go about proofreading. I also put some marketing ideas that you might not have thought about, but it walks you from A to Z through thinking about your business, looking at what you have, how much it's going to cost you, what you need to get, the materials you need to get in order to officially start a proofreading business. And this can apply to copy editing, writing, any sort of freelance business. It really just gives you a lot of good general information about starting a freelance business, a home-based business that you can apply to other disciplines, not just writing, editing, or proofreading. So, just to recap, I went from posting lecture videos on my YouTube channel in 2011 to building online courses around writing, grammar, and proofreading. I started that around 2012 with Udemy. I built a website, www.easyedits.net, to not only solicit clients for my proofreading and editing services, but also to let people know about my proofreading classes and books. From the courses, I wrote the proofreading books that I discussed. I also, during that time, wrote a lot of grammar books as well. We'll get to those in another podcast. But here's another thing about proofreading, because a lot of people are interested in it, especially since we've been dealing with COVID for a couple of years and people lost their jobs or they need something, a skill that they can make money from that will not require a full-time job or full-time employment. Some people know how to braid hair. Some people know how to fix cars. Some people can wash your car. Some people can wash your dog or walk your dog. Skills that do not require full-time employment from another person. So there are some people, some individuals who run ads for proofreading classes, their proofreading class, basically saying if you can read, you can proofread. Anybody can learn to proofread. You just need to know how to read. And I thought that was very irresponsible. But this person has been featured on all kinds of major media because she started with court reporting. It was a very specific level of proofreading for court reporters. And so that was very specific, very unique. She was helping people get jobs with that. And, I check out my competition. This is how I know this. But then, after I had my proofreading classes out, I noticed she developed a general proofreading course. Not just court reporting or whatever she was doing, but a general proofreading course with a curriculum that was very similar to mine. That's all I'm going to say. Very similar to mine. So I tell people, especially in the book, if you don't like to sit, here's proofreading. You sit for hours and hours looking at a computer screen or reading printed pages, looking for errors for hours and hours at a time. If that does not appeal to you, then proofreading is not for you. So I told people very much up front exactly what proofreading is, what it requires of you. And so I really appreciate the review of Start Your Proofreading Side Hustle where somebody wrote, I thought I wanted to proofread, but after reading this book, I figured out I don't. I'm like, God bless you. Because why spend $700, $800, $1,000 or some more dollars on somebody's proofreading class who says if you can read, you can proofread, and I'll help you get a job, when this is not for you. It doesn't fit your personality. It doesn't fit your skill sets. It's just not something you have a background in or something that you are inclined to do. So I promote my work to other English instructors, English teachers, people in K through 12 who need to maximize their writing skills, people with writing backgrounds, content marketing, social media writing backgrounds. I'm looking for people who already are experienced writers and who already have the skills necessary to translate into proofreading and copy editing. So watch out for people who very irresponsibly say, if you can read, you can proofread, because that is not true. I had a student of mine who contacted me through email because she had gotten a client that she was proofreading for, and she had some really specialized questions. And then she wrote back, "Oh, this is more than a notion." I said, because proofreading also is going to involve editing. They are two different skill sets, but the way things are today, people expect you to be able to proofread and edit. So I teach those skills in two different classes. I have two different books for copy editing and proofreading, but people expect you to be an all-in-one. So when they say proofreader, they mean somebody who can fix all of my writing, edit it and fix it from top to bottom, including sentences that don't sound right. So watch out, don't get scammed. I checked out some other competitors who, again, guarantee people jobs, and I don't do that. I've had people to email me personally saying, "Okay, I want to take your class. Will you help me get a job?" No. And I had to change the description on my Udemy class to say, "No, I do not provide job leads. I do not guarantee you a job. I do not give references for jobs. I'm just teaching you the skill so that you can become the best at it. And then you do with it what you need to do with it, whether that's starting your own business, making it your side hustle, looking for proofreading jobs, whatever it is you want to do with it. But I'm teaching you the skill so that you can become the absolute most effective proofreader you can possibly become." Then I found this lady who targets corporations for her business classes. She also had a proofreading and grammar class all of a sudden because I had been following her for a little bit. So I joined her emailing list so that I could, take a look at her lesson list, because she noted that if you want to see the curriculum for this class, then submit your email and I'll send it to you. So I did that. Her outline was the exact same as my proofreading and grammar classes, the exact same as my Proofreading Power and Core Grammar Essentials class. I almost fell out. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This woman stole my whole proofreading and grammar outline. Some things she already had in her course, but she put updated, a note that this has been updated, and her update is included my entire curriculum outline. I had to take that off of my course landing page. Now, when you go to my course landing pages, you can no longer see my full curriculum list or the titles of my lessons for that reason. This woman updated her proofreading and grammar classes with my entire curriculum outline. I put in too much work to have somebody steal from me. Too much effort goes into my writing for someone to just simply come and plagiarize from me and profit off of it. So that is why I no longer have available the curriculum list. This is what I did instead. Listen to this. It gets even better. I created peek and side videos for each one of my 40 million classes that I offer through Onyx Online Education and Training. In the peek and side video, I walk you through the class so that you can kind of see the lessons, but not for very long. You can just see that you get a lot of information for the price that you're paying. The proofreading girl, if you can read, you can proofread girl, and this business writing woman have recently included their own version of peek inside videos, whereas they had never done that before. And so they peek inside, but not for very long, because theirs are pretty much all text-based. My classes are video-based and audio-based. They just have text on a web page that they're charging people $600, $700, $900, $1,000 for. I have all sort of dynamic videos and slides and audio and PDF handouts and so much visual media in my courses that I'm just charging you a fraction of the cost that they're charging. But it's better, it's more dynamic, and it's better. So I'm like, these ladies, because at first I was thinking, am I tripping? Am I tripping? No, these ladies have been following me. Just like I've been following them, they've been following me. But the difference is that they've been copying me. Let me go old school. They've been biting off of me. And that I do not appreciate. Because as I said, I put in too much work, too much effort, too much planning, too much soul energy into all of my classes and my books and everything I have produced for somebody to just come and bite off of me. So yes, when you are building an online business, just know that people might try to pirate your work, flat out steal it, download it, make it their own. They will watch what you're doing and try to copy it, make their own version of what you are doing. And I also found another lady who started advertising on Facebook, just some little junky proofreading class that she threw together that is not high quality like what I provide at all. So watch out for proofreading scammers. And these scammers make a lot of money off of people because unfortunately they advertise, and I still need an advertising budget. But by the time people find me in my classes, they're like, oh my goodness, I wish I had found you first because I already spent so much money on these other people and I didn't even learn half the stuff that I have learned from you. These are actual comments that I have gotten from students that I greatly appreciate. Okay, so this has been episode number 3. If you are watching on my YouTube page or listening through my YouTube channel, thank you so much for that. You can always go to arhampton.com. That is my web portal. Anything you want to discover about me, go to arhampton.com. And if I left something out, just go to easyedits.net. Between arhampton.com and easyedits.net, you will learn all about me, all of my work, everything that I have mentioned in these podcasts, you can find on those 2 websites. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful to you. Happy building. Until the next episode, have a good one.